I find myself extremely lucky to be here today. I worked with Raj Sahab. He was my guru. I worked with your father, who was more than a childhood friend. And now I'm here with you, which is like being with a son. So being with 3 generations, I think, is a great thing. So we are here to talk about Raj Sahab, Sandrit here. What has his influence been on you? I know you were very young when he passed away.
Yeah, I think that's always been such a large question. I've always been asked this question wherever I've gone since the time I've been in the film industry. I think when I could remember anything in life, I remembered him as a grandfather, as Dadaji, who was this big man with blue eyes. When me and my sister, when we went to his house, he used to take us to his room and he used to hide these caramel toffees in his fridge. And he used to make us stand in a line, all of us, all the cousins, Karina, Karishma, my sister, myself. And he used to ask us to do salam and to sing Awara Hu and to give him a kiss on his cheek. And then we were bribed with a caramel toffee. So that is, so my memories of him are very personal. I got to know him more after I started understanding movies, after I started understanding who he was, what his contribution was. Of course, me being the first grandson who, with the name Kapoor in the family, so I of course got a lot of love and attention. Whenever my mom used to fire me or shout at me, I used to call him up, and he used to call up my mom and fire her, so I used that as a leverage also. So like every grandkid with a grandfather, my relationship with him was that. He passed away when I was 6 years old, and I still remember I have this vivid memory that, of course, I didn't know what death was and all of those things, but we were in Devnar Cottage, and all the children were upstairs playing, and we were looking down in the garden, and we could just see a sea of people. I've never seen so many people in my life, and I really understood that day, okay, this man has some standing, has some value, he's done something, that's why so many people have come to pay him respect. So that memory will always stay with me, especially when they took his body, and there was, the entire Chembur road was filled with people.
As an actor, how do you interpret the themes he explored in his films?
I think Raj Kapoor, the filmmaker, always explored different themes at different times of his life. If you see his earlier films like Awara, which was based on casteism, it tells you a story about how an individual and the surroundings that he's been brought up in, what is that impact on that person and what that person becomes. If you see Sri Char Subis, he spoke about greed, about the underprivileged, and really trying to make something with their lives. And I think the latter part of the last few films that he made, he really made strong films with really strong Indian moral values. Spoke about the society in such an honest and frank way, still making it really commercial and really entertaining. He made movies, woman-centric films, where he spoke about the oppression of a woman in a patriarchal society and against a misogynistic individual. If you see Prem Rogi spoke about widow remarriage. If you see talk about Ram Teri Ganga Meli, he actually compared the protagonist Ganga to the river Ganga, how it starts so pure and by the time it reaches down because of society and human habits, it really impures the person. So I think another big example I think of Mr. Raj Kapoor is after he made Mera Naam Joker, which was a colossal disaster. He lost so much of money, his house was mortgaged, and I hear so many stories from my family what was happening at that time. He had the courage to make a film with newcomers. A 50-year-old man making a film for the youth. That means that he really kept with the times. He was not stuck in a cocoon. He was not somebody who was high up in his ivory tower. He was constantly in touch with the common man. He was constantly in touch with the mass. He was constantly in touch with what kind of stories, people would like to see. And really to make a film like Bobby at that time, at the age of 50, which spoke to teenagers, is something which is truly amazing.
Tell me, which of his films has impacted you the most?
I think two films that come to my mind is Sri Char Subis. I love the story of a vagabond, somebody who has stars in his eyes, very hopeful, and how he makes it, how he deals with fame. That's something which really spoke to me. I loved the music in the film, the performances, everything. And the second film, which is probably my favorite, is Jaagte Raho. It was a film that he didn't direct, but he acted and produced. And that film really spoke to me, especially at a time when I was in film school. I was seeing films of different cultures, different countries. And when I saw Jaagte Raho, I was like, yeah, this should be up there with all the other films that we watch from all over the world, which are applauded and given accolades. So Jaagte Raho and Shri Chalsuvis. What about yours?
To me, the film which really, apart from Bobby, which I was very close to my heart, was Prem Rog. And especially in Prem Rog, the film and the way Chintu, your father, performed in that film. And tell me one thing, in your legacy, your grandfather was an actor-director. Your father was an actor-director. Any intention of you becoming an actor-director?
Absolutely. I actually always wanted to be a director. I myself went to a film school to...
Why do you want us to lose our jobs? Tell me that.
No, I'm far from it. But yeah, I realized that, the opportunities of being an actor came easily. I come from a privileged setting, so of course I had the opportunities, and I didn't want to take that for granted. I want to do my best. And the more I worked with good directors, and I worked with a lot of good directors in the Hindi film industry, the more I realized what a hard and a selfless job direction is. Acting is tough too, but it's far more easier than directing a movie. My grandfather directed, acted, produced, wrote, edited a film at the age of 24, which was Aag. Aag was at 24, right? Yeah, at the age of 24. I'm 42 today, and I still don't have the courage to direct a film. I produced a movie called Jaga Jasoos, which again didn't work at the box office. But it's something which definitely I have a burning ambition. I'm waiting for a story to come because, a director should make a movie only if he has a story to tell, not just for the sake of making a movie.
So we can hope to see a movie which is going to be directed by you.
Absolutely, I hope so too.
I would love to see that and see how much is Raj Kapoor.
But let me also tell you, when I was in film school, I made various short films which I have buried underground that nobody will ever see because they were so terrible and so bad that I'm extremely ashamed about it. So I have lots of work to do. I think, I guess मेरा मानना है कि Raj Kapoor was Raj Kapoor because he didn't really follow a model. He constantly took risks, he constantly pushed the boundaries, he told different stories of different characters. So I think if you really want to take any kind of legacy forward, you have to do it in a very individualistic approach. I remember when I started working in movies, my father was always against my choices. He always wondered, what kind of movies are you doing? What is Barfi and Wake Up Sid and Rocket Singh Salesman of the Year? You should do, more commercial films and speak to a larger audience. But at that point of time, these films spoke to me and I could really engage myself with it and I could surrender myself to these parts in these movies. So I think what I mean to say is that, of course, we all are offshoots of movies that Mr. Raj Kapoor, Guru Dutt, Bimal Roy, Mehboob Khan, yourself, and all the great filmmakers, Mr. Shekhar Kapoor who's sitting here, we've all taken so much of inspiration. It's the way you say it. It's your perception of life. It's what you have absorbed, as a person, and then you want to kind of just flow into that story, and that's why it's different. It's individualistic. So yeah, heavily influenced, but you have to be individualistic to really make a mark in any way.
Raj Sahab is the music going to affect him?
I think first speaking about his music, I think he was very lucky to partner with such genius talents, like Shankar Jaikishan, Lakshmikant Pyarelal, Mukesh, Lata Mangeshkar, lyricists like Hasrat Jaipuri, Shailendra, and I think they were truly close friends. And for them, making music was not work; it was a passion, So to work the entire day, and then everybody used to come over, and then they should just have their music sittings. So it was their way of parting. They really enjoyed that process. And I think Raj Kapoor was a very learned man. If it was literature, if it was music, if it was playing an instrument, it came very easy to him. So music has been such a big contribution to his career, and then over the years, I've often heard my father also say that music, if you hear today's music and you hear the music back then, there's so much of a difference in the poetry, in the writing, in the catchphrase of the song. Everything has become now like a reel, it's just a minute, you have a minute of a good stanza and that's enough. So it is kind of sad that music in Indian movies is kind of dying. Excuse me. But I hope, I think music is so much a part of our culture, so much a part of our celebration. When we watch a Hindi movie, we want to see it all. We want to see action, comedy, romance, emotion. We want to hear good songs. We want to dance. There are so many filmmakers now that I speak to who are working in my generation who are saying that they are finding it harder to write a story where they can incorporate music. One of my favorite films of his, he wanted to cast Vijayantimala and her name was Radha and she was not agreeing to do the film. So he sent her a text, I don't know what it used to be called at that time.
It was a telegram.
A telegram.
And that was...
Sorry? It wasn't a call, it was like a telegram.
It was a telegram he sent her.
So he said, Bol Radha Bol, Sangam hoga ke nahi, like the word Sangam, and she sent a telegram back saying, Hoga, hoga, hoga.
That's right.
And that became the song.
That's right, that became the song. See, he would find any situation, but I must tell you something which is a little strange and a little funny about songs. It's in my book, I think you've read it. At a song sitting for Mera Naam Joker, I first time went for a sitting, and there was Raj Kapoor, Shankar ji, Jai Kishan ji, Hasrat Saab, Shailendra ji, Mukesh ji. So all these stalwarts, for me it was a great fanboy moment, seeing all these people together. And they got down to discussing the song. And like all music directors have dummy words in a song just to get a sense. When Shankarji started singing the dummy words, I did not know if I should jump out of a window or I should, just bang my head and die. Because he sang the dummy words. Jitni maa bahan ki gaaliyan thi, which you could imagine. There was this man singing with all these maa bahan ki gaaliyan. And I was shocked, hearing that. और फिर discussion ही हो रहा था कि एक काम करते हैं, even your grandfather, शंकर एक काम करते हैं, वो माँ की change करके बहन की कर देते हैं. So this is how they went, this is how, and they made great songs out of it. And your grandfather very fond of eating. I think that goes in your family. Yeah. Are you a foodie also, Ranjan?
I am, but in today's day and age, it's become an occupational hazard. You have to. It's a visual medium, so you can't let loose. So I've had my mother's side also, who's always kind of controlling. She's always, put it in our heads that you have to be healthy, and you look at your family. They have so many problems of, ailments and all of that. So I've really taken more towards my mom's side than father's side. Not out of choice, just because I knew that I had to be an actor and I had to listen to them.
Yeah, I've seen your father eating a piece of pav, putting a jalebi in that, with butter and jalebi, and eating that. And I said, sir, what are you eating? He said, is it written anywhere that I can't? I said, no, it's not written, but it's not done. He said, there's a better way to eat it. And he dipped it in tomato ketchup. See your face.
I remember another story, I think, of Mr. Prithvi Raj Kapoor, when they all were staying together in Jimbur, and he had to be on a diet because he had to start shooting Mughal-e-Azam, I think, at that time. And he told my grandmother that I need to be on a diet. So start, give me some diet food. So she gave him a salad to eat, and he ate the salad. And after the salad, he told his chef to bring the real food because he's had his diet khana. Now he'll have the real food. So I don't think they understood the concept of diet at that age, that time.
But with your legacy, and I'm sure you'll make a very good film. I hope so. And you have the blessing of your father, one of the most gifted actors we've ever had. And your fourth generation, you'll be the fourth generation of filmmakers over there. You know, 5 generations, your 4 generations have worked in a film. That was in Awara. Your great-grandfather, Awadi's father was there, Prithviraj Kapoorji was there, Dad was there, Shami uncle was there, and Dabu Saab was there. So,
Also, Mr. Prithviraj Kapoor's father was the judge.
yeah, he was there also.
I can hear you.
Hello. I'm here. Hi Ranveer, this is Sanchita.
Hi, Sanchita.
I'm a film student from Pune.
Oh, nice.
Since
What are you doing?
BA filmmaking, an undergrad course.
Nice.
Yes. So, since you have went to film school and you have learned direction, what is that one movie of Raj Kapoor that you think you could have directed in a different way?
I would have directed every film in a different way, but all of them would have been atrocious. So it's not. But I think if I had to pick a film of his that I would like to remake, I don't believe in remakes. I believe that a film is made to its best of its capabilities and you should not touch it, and especially Raj Kapoor's films. But I would love to have a take on Shri 420. Like I said, it's my favorite film.
Hello,
Thank
sir.
you.
Ranveer, sir.
Hanji,
Sir,
one second. You just finish now. We'll come to you. One second. Hi.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, of course.
Fantastic. My name is Nandita Parker.
Hi, Nandita.
I'm a former fund manager turned full-time ocean conservationist.
Wow.
And the reason I got here to this point is because I understood the ocean crisis as an existential threat to humanity. I really love the work that your grandfather did, your father did, and of course you. And my daughter's a big fan as well. One of the biggest issues that Gen Z is facing is this anxiety about climate change, anxiety about not being able to do anything about the environment. So when I look back at your grandfather's legacy, I feel like he really tackled issues that were front burner, difficult for people to understand unless they were done at a Bollywood stage, at a movie. And I'm asking you, are you touched by the ocean crisis? Are you touched by climate change? Are you touched with the disaster that we're making of our environment and of this beautiful planet that is our home enough to be able to make an impact through your films?
Thank you so much.
You know, ma'am,
That's the question.
I'll be honest with you, I am even more worried and touched now since I am a father and I have to think of, my child's life and what it's going to be for her after so many years. So yes, as cinema people, as artists, it's our moral responsibility, to make movies that entertain people. Of course, that's one set of movies, but also, I think knowledge is such a large thing that, we need to put out there. What can be done? What's going wrong? So many people don't even know what's right or what's wrong. You go on social media and you watch your reel or you read a headline and it can be very misleading. So I think knowledge is something that the awareness is very important, and if I can create any awareness for anything, not just, ocean related, for anything that will protect the planet, I think it's all our moral responsibility to do that.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I have created a beautiful virtual reality experience on the oceans,
Okay.
right here in a white tent.
Okay.
It's India's first ever.
Okay.
I funded it and I brought it to India.
Well, that's it.
I
you're
would love
starting
for
the
you to
movement.
come.
I'll definitely
and
stop by.
You have to come and stop by, and I invite everybody. It's free. It's a huge investment. Please come.
Thank you. Thank you so much. हाँ जी, मैं आपकी आवाज़ सुन सकता हूँ सर.
Raj Kapoor sir's movies, they're all very, very famous in Russia. What I'm asking is, at the time there are no subtitles, but the songs are very good and he was a hit. What was the reason he became a hit in Russia? Subtitles were not there. What attracted Russians to like them? Of course, the songs were extraordinary. All the songs are hit songs. I'm listening to the song from the age of 5, Dum Dum Digga Digga and all. So how it became success in Russia?
I think, sir, there are various reasons. Of course, music is something which always touches anybody. You don't need to know the language, as long as the melody, the singing. Music is such an art form that really touches your soul. But I think also the characters and the stories he made films on, it's something which was universally appealing. Not just the Soviet Union, if it's Eastern Europe, if it was the Middle East, if it was Southeast Asia. I remember when I was a student in New York, I used to wait for cab drivers who were from Russia or Ukraine, because whenever they got to know that I was from the Raj Kapoor family, they gave me a free ride. They never took money from me. So I was always, I used to hail a cab and I used to first ask, where are you from? And if he said Russia, I used to sit in the cab and start a conversation. That was his impact. Like I said, I went to a film school in New York. When they were talking about the Kieslowskis and all the filmmakers from around the world, they were also mentioning Raj Kapoor and Guru Dutt. So that was his impact, and his impact was only through his work, the movies he made.
Hello, Ranbir sir.
Hello, sir. Yes, of course, yes.
Yeah, Ranbir sir. Today we have got everywhere the part 2 like that and all. Was there any story for Meera Ram Joker to be done in 2 parts instead of?
I think Rahul uncle would be able to answer this
On
question.
what?
Was there a part 2 for Meera Naam Joker?
There was
2
supposed to-
intervals. Was there anything considered for 2 parts to get in released like that? Those times?
There was to be a second part, for which the script was kind of done, and we recorded a song also. But I think after the first one didn't work, we decided not to make it.
Hello, Ranbir sir. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. Yesterday,
मैम एक सेकंड, मैं इनके बाद आपके पास आता हूँ, आप माइक आपको दे देंगे. हाँ जी.
yesterday we had a master class with Mr. Anubam K. He told us, anyone who can lie, he can act. And as a phenomenal actor, you are. How big liar you are.
I don't think, I know I've heard that statement a lot, that if you can lie, you can act. Because I don't think acting is lying, because at least I speak for myself. Whenever I am acting, if I'm not completely honest to the moment that I'm performing, if I'm not present, if I'm not really flowing as an artist, I've always seen that the result has not been good. Whenever I have gone home after a day of shoot and I've been thinking about a shot, okay, what was the shot today? And if I really don't know, if I'm very vague about it, okay, what happened? That means I was not really superficially seeing myself from a long shot, I was really present. So I don't really truly endorse that statement that if you can lie, you can act. But acting is not that hard a job. Today there are such good institutes, there's such good teachers. Watching movies is also such a great teacher. That anybody who has an aspiration to become an actor, it is hard work, of course. It's not as glamorous as it looks. But there are also certain skills that you develop over a period of years. And once you develop those skills, then it is the quest to unskill yourself, because you become so predictable that you're not interesting anymore. So it's quite ironical as acting early on and acting after 20 years. You have your challenges all